This is ANN News.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Although the newly installed leadership in the National Assembly was met with fanfare and celebration, not every group is happy with their choices. A prominent civil rights advocacy group, Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, is one of those. It has condemned the elections of Senator Ovie Omoagege as Deputy Senate President and Femi Gbajabiamila as House Speaker. The group said on Thursday the two have not fully and transparently cleared their names against every damaging allegations of misdemeanor and fraud. The group has called for their impeachment. It said the credibility of the 9th Senate would be eroded if Omoagege was not impeached, adding that the National Assembly would remain a mere political circus ring and a charade. The advocacy group says electing Omoagege and Gbajabiamila desecrates the central lawmaking organ of the government. It says this will have lasting consequences on the moral justifications of the legislations that would emanate from the 9th Assembly. It also says it would be a grave sacrilege on the parliaments because of unresolved ethical challenges that have dogged both of them. The group says electing Senator Omoagege as Deputy Senate President, even after he was indicted by the last session of the National Assembly over his alleged role in the theft of the Senate's maize by suspected hoodlums, has eroded and massively and irretrievably damaged the credibility and integrity of the Senate. The group says if the two are not impeached, it would amount to the canonization of rascality and misconduct. The battle was finally being won by Imo former Governor Rochas Okorocha when he was sworn in on Thursday as Senator representing Imo West District in the National Assembly. After plenary on Thursday, Okorocha had words of advice for Southeast leaders if they desire to produce a president for the country in 2023. He said their dream would only come true when they can convince other leaders of the various geopolitical zones in the country that the Igbo deserve to be president. He advised Igbo leaders not to fold their arms and expect power to be given to them. He said sentiment cannot give them power and that the Southeast alone cannot produce a president by itself. He then said his idea for the right person to rule the country is rooted in finding the most qualified person from any part of the country to occupy the position. He said, quote, "For me, what is important is that power be given to somebody who has something upstairs, who can put food on the table of the common man, irrespective of religion or where you come from," end quote. On reports that INEC intends to appeal the judgment that put him in the Senate, Okorocha said there was no basis for the Electoral Commission to do that. In Rivers State, Governor Nyesom Wike has warned that he will no longer tolerate the shutting down of oil production facilities by communities in the state. The governor made the pronouncement on Thursday during a meeting with chairmen of cluster development boards in Asari, Tori, Akuku, Tori and Dogeme local government areas. Oil companies and security councils also attended the meeting at the state government house in Port Harcourt. Wike warned the communities against taking the laws into their own hands and preventing oil production companies from carrying out their duties. The governor also directed the immediate revival of the State Steering Committee on Cluster Development Board, responsible for intervening between oil companies and communities. Mrs. Aisha Buhari wants to be addressed as First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with immediate effect. She says this would help in resolving the issue of the title of governor's wives. Announcement of Mrs. Buhari's new official title took place on Thursday at the presentation of awards to wives of former and current governors of the 36 states at the presidential villa, Abuja. The First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria says she chose the title of wife of the president when her husband was first elected in 2015. She said that created confusion about how governors' wives should be addressed. She expressed the confidence that her new title would enable the governors' wives to sort out theirs. We'll take a break now. When we come back, it will be time for African Stories. Please stay with us. Welcome back. This is CNN News. Now to events around the continent. Ebola has sneaked into Uganda and 2 deaths have been recorded, including a boy who had entered the country with his family members from DR Congo. Uganda is working to forestall any spread of the disease in the country. It has also decided to repatriate those who entered Uganda with the disease from DR Congo, saying they can get better treatments in specialized facilities in their country. Michael Baleke reports from Kampala.
Uganda's Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization have confirmed the death of a 5-year-old child from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He traveled with his family to Uganda a week ago to seek treatment, but presented with symptoms of the Ebola virus disease.
A blood sample was drawn and sent for testing at Uganda Virus Research Institute very early on the morning of June 11th, and the sample tested positive for Ebola. All the other Congolese family members have been identified and are in isolation at Bwera Hospital.
The Ministry of Health says blood samples taken from a 50-year-old grandmother and a 3-year-old brother of the deceased have also tested positive for Ebola. A rapid response team has been dispatched to Kasese district to identify, monitor and provide assistance to health teams in the area.
The Ministry of Health, WHO and CDC will undertake ring vaccination of contacts to the case and other non-vaccinated frontline health workers, as well as other workers beginning 14th June 2019.
On the 1st of August 2018, the UN World Health Organization declared a new outbreak of the Ebola virus disease in the DR Congo. The disease has since killed close to 1,400 people and infected hundreds. However, with the new confirmed cases, the situation remains tense along the Uganda-DR Congo borderline.
We have informed our teams to heighten their activities and screen every single person who is arriving. We have been doing this previously in the last 8 months as part of the preparedness since the Ebola was declared in the DRC.
The Ebola virus is a severe illness that is spread through contact with body fluids of a person with the disease. Symptoms can be sudden and include fever, fatigue, muscle pain, persistent headaches, and a sore throat. Uganda has previous experience managing Ebola outbreaks, and this time round, the Ministry of Health is prioritizing community awareness and education to contain the spread of the disease in the country.
Zimbabwe's Association of Healthcare Funders says at least half of Zimbabwe's population is turned away from seeking medical help because of prohibitive cost of drugs that are not covered by insurance. The association says many are switching to herbal treatments that health analysts warn are not always helpful. But President Emmerson Mnangagwa's government says not to despair because a solution is on the way. The association says many either limit their medical treatment or do not seek it out at all because even though they have medical insurance, it's as if they don't have because health institutions do not accept it or the cost of health services has gone beyond their coverage. With nowhere else to turn, they seek out medical drugs or herbs sold on the streets. Zimbabwe's Minister of Health and Child Care, Obadiah Moyo, says the government is working on the issue and it has started sourcing medical drugs. It says India has just donated some drugs to the country. When we come back, it will be time for international news. Please stay with us.
Shining our eyes on breaking news, whether in the east or in the west, with Al-Shabaab in Somalia and Boko Haram in Nigeria, with turbulence in the north and agitation in the south. Wherever you live in Nigeria, wherever news happens in Africa, we've got it covered. ANN News, connecting Africans in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is CNN News happening around the world. The United States has released a video showing what it says were Iran's Revolutionary Guard members removing an unexploded mine from one of the 2 tankers hit by explosions in the Gulf of Oman. Washington believes the images clearly show members of the Iranian elite force approaching the Japanese vessel and removing what the U.S. claims is a limpet mine. The Japanese operator of one of the tankers said crew members saw flying objects before the explosion. The U.S. Central Command released not just the video, but also some stills of the timeline of events from the U.S. perspective in the hours after the attacks. Iran has denied involvement with the reported attacks and has described the U.S. allegations as baseless. The man accused of killing 51 persons during a shootout spree in March at two mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, has pleaded not guilty to all charges leveled against him. Lawyer for Australia-born Brenton Tarrant says his client pleaded not guilty to the 51 charges of murder, 40 attempted murders and 1 charge of committing a terrorist act. This is the first time a terrorism charge has been brought in New Zealand, and Tarrant was not in court in person in Christchurch. Instead, he appeared via a video link from a maximum security prison where he's been held in Auckland, New Zealand's largest city. When his lawyer entered the not guilty pleas on his behalf, he grinned and at that one point winked at the camera. When the Trump administration hiked tariffs on Chinese imports again last month, many American businesses took the hit. 10% levies on $200 billion worth of Chinese products shot up to 25%. Mark Neal reports the furniture retailers are among those now making adjustments.
In the California Central Valley city of Modesto, it's business as usual for the furniture market.
See how this has a wood base?
As customers look for the best fit, it's also not hard to notice something else on display. Fresh signs indicating a new price hike and the reason why.
The importer pays the duty and the tariff. He passes his increased costs on to me, and then I pass them on to the consumer. And the consumer, if I just put it into the price of the product, they wouldn't know they're paying a tariff, because our president and his staff are telling the United States citizens that tariffs don't affect them. They don't pay them. China's paying them, you know, and China isn't paying. They are paying it.
He's an honest man, too. He's telling you, hey, this is the reason why it's going up. You know, but yeah, I mean, we're in need of a couch, and we're probably going to get it today instead of a week from now when it goes up a little bit further, you know.
This table is 100% from China.
Because it's so difficult to know how every part of the thousands of furniture pieces have been impacted, O'Brien has averaged it out to a 3.75% increase on all items sold. And here at the furniture market, there's no hiding the numbers. This is a customer's recent sales order. Clearly in a line item it says tariff 3.75%, adding $73.46 to this bill. At the family's other store, At Home, O'Brien's wife, Pamela, is taking a different approach.
And every day I'm opening a letter and it's like another price increase, another price increase.
With furniture and hundreds of accessories, At Home is attempting to avoid the politics of the situation by striking a balance in the amount prices are raised.
Even though it's a 25% increase, we're not going to charge that all to you. We're going to absorb some of it. But in a sense, it is a tax. It's a tax.
Pamela O'Brien estimates that at least 90% of her items have been impacted, even ones that say Made in America.
I called up the manufacturer. I'm like, well, why do we have price increase? And then he explained, he said, well, it's built here in the United States, kind of like, you know, but I get parts from all over the world. But when you look at the down is made in China.
China, once their economy grows and their standard of living increases, they're going to be a huge market for us. And we're going to want to be able to sell into that market. And if we burn our bridges now, I don't know what's going to happen, you know, 30 or 40 years from now.
O'Brien does not believe he's lost any purchases so far by highlighting the cost of the tariffs. But he just wants the customer to know that in a trade war, there's a price to pay, and much of that comes right out of their own pocket.
A White House press secretary, Sarah Sanders, is leaving her post. Sanders is the latest senior White House aide to exit. She said her White House role has been the honor of a lifetime. Her credibility was questioned during a combative tenure that saw press briefings all but relegated to a thing of the past. She started out as deputy press secretary before replacing Sean Spicer in the top post in July 2017. She has given no press briefing in 95 days. It used to be a daily exercise. We'll take another break and we'll come back. It's over time for sport. Please stay with us.
We are on the road every day, canvassing throughout Africa for news you really need. We follow the story everywhere, from every corner of Nigeria to the wide African expanse. ANN, African News Network. in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is in news in sport. African women's 200 meters record holder Blessing Okagbere will be back on the IAAF Diamond League train when it makes its 6th of 14 stops on Sunday at the Prince Moulay Abdullahi Stadium in Rabat, Morocco for the Athletics International meeting Mohammed VI. It will be Okagbere's 4th consecutive trip to Rabat since the city was added to the IAAF Diamond League circuit in 2016. Okagbere is yet to climb the podium as champion. The closest she has been to winning was in her debut season in 2016 when she ran 11.11 seconds to place second behind Jamaica's Elian Thompson, who raced home first in 11.02 seconds over the 100 meters before going to complete a sprint double at the Rio Olympics later that year. That is any news this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a great weekend.